is the TorbayHour radio show.
Yeah, good evening. It's just after 8 o'clock. It is Monday evening, which means it's time for the TorbayHour radio show. Welcome along to Martin. We've got full studio again tonight. Also to Sue and to Andy Coleman. Welcome along to you as well. Our guests this week in the studio, we're getting all kind of green. Not in an Incredible Hulk kind of way, although you have gone with that colour T-shirt there.
Well, you know.
Yeah, it's very impressive. But we're looking at the ways that you can... Well, I guess the bottom line is save money for the business. Really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And looking at your cost base.
Yeah. So environmental savings to be had. So if you want any environmental savings type advice on things like maybe looking at solar energy, maybe even we were talking before we came on air about changing light bulbs to save money, get in touch. You can, of course, do that the most efficient way known to man, which is via Twitter. And the hashtag to get involved is...
#TorbayHour.
Doesn't get much simpler than that, does it? Also on the show tonight, we've got some brand new music. All the music you hear on the show is from Devon-based artists or Devon original artists, either recorded here at the Music Mill in Newton Abbot or somewhere else in Devon. So more on that for you as the evening goes on. We, of course, have got our 140-second pitches, and we have our account of the week, which, if we're going to stick with tradition, is a good place to start.
The featured accounts with the Works Torbay. Flexible, affordable workspace. A new way of working and doing business.
So, Lynn Hooking is our account of the week this week. And Lynn, you're representing the Torbay Hospital League of Friends.
That's right.
So,
we're a League of Friends that support the local hospital here in Torbay. In fact, we've been going for 60 years now. We're very proud to have been around for that length of time. And over these years, we've managed to raise by beg, stealing, borrowing, doing all sorts of things from jumble sales, tabletops, backpacking in the supermarkets. Whatever we do, we've raised over £15 million worth of money for the hospital.
Wow.
So we're quite proud of that, really.
Now, for people that have never been into a hospital, and that's probably it's a small number of people, the League of Friends, I mean, generally the only encounter you get really is with the shop that's in the foyer of the hospital, generally, isn't it? Or something like that.
That's right. Not to be confused with the commercial shop, which is on level 4, which is the main entrance to the hospital. That is a commercially operated shop for profit. But if you're going into the outpatients department, which is down on level 2, that's where all the outpatients clinics are held, then you'll come across the League of Friends shop and the League of Friends coffee shop, which in fact is called Butterflies.
So explain to me why is there a need for a League of Friends? Why do the hospitals or the health authorities or whoever just not give them everything they need?
We'd like that question answered. But in reality, every budget in the land, probably in every land, is being severely cut and, shall we say, repositioned for whatever reason. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about the health service, whatever you're talking about, all governments are looking at how they can save money. Now, over the years, we've realised that some of the equipment that the hospital is very much in need of cannot be funded, shall we say, at that particular time with any particular pot of money. If that's the case, they would go to their medical directorate and ask them, is it possible for us to have this piece of equipment? It would be vital to our department, great help to the staff and indeed the patients. After they've gone through that hurdle, if the medical director feels that it is a vital piece of equipment which would make a significant difference to not only the workings of the hospital but the safety and efficiency of the hospital, then if they cannot afford it, and that's from their own NHS budgets, if it cannot be funded at that time, they may decide to come to the League of Friends and say, we have a huge need for this particular piece of equipment. It's something we can't fund ourselves at this stage. If you can help us at all, we would be so very, very grateful.
Okay. So
that's how they come to us, but that's only after they've jumped through their own hurdles first.
Right. So every year, I guess you have to come up with new and exciting and engaging ways to raise money, really.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We always seem to have a begging bucket out. And we're very conscious of that because people are always being asked for money for this, that, the other, whatever the charity is. And, of course, all of these charities are hugely valuable, particularly valuable in some cases more than another, because some people choose the charity of their choice because of a particular personal thing that's happened to them. But the League of Friends, shall we say, can help a far more, a much wider spectrum of people, because, of course, the hospital deals with everybody, from the joyous occasion of a baby being born right through our life, regardless of age, regardless of disability, regardless of problem, really. And because of that, we're there to serve everybody throughout their whole lifespan until whatever inevitably happens to each and every one of us. But, of course, with Torbay Hospital, we do only seek to raise money to spend at this particular hospital. It's not money that would go off in any other direction. It would only be spent on one of the most important needs at our own hospital.
So £15 million over the time you've been going, which is an amazing achievement from everyone involved. What kind of things has the money been spent on?
All sorts of things. In the early years, we were buying very, very simple things. Early years meaning when it was first conceived and started back in 1954. And they were buying simple things to make the wards a little bit softer, a little bit more colourful. It might have been vases for flowers. It might have been more comfortable bedside chairs. It might have been various pieces like lockers. And over the years, this has really developed. And, of course, we're now looking to fund a £1.6 million 14-bed critical care unit. Now, I should just say that we're not paying for the capital to build this brand new unit. Oh, no, that's coming out of NHS budgets. All we're being asked to do is help with the cost and buy the equipment that will be needed to fully equip such a state-of-the-art unit.
Brilliant. So what have we got coming up then that we can all come and support you at?
Right, well, the very next event, which we're throwing all our energies at because it's the opportunity to raise a large sum of money, is the St George's Day celebration on Friday the 24th of April. We're having a black tie event at the Grand Hotel, 7 for 7:30. We're starting with a sparkling wine reception. Then we're going into dinner in the main restaurant, the sea-facing restaurant, 1811. Going right through a very glamorous dinner with roast beef, of course, as the main course. Now, this is traditional to a St George's Day dinner.
You wouldn't have it any other way, would you? No.
We couldn't. Obviously, people, before anybody screams at me, anybody that has dietary needs, we will, of course, cater for that. But traditionally, roast beef is served. It will be paraded by the chefs through the dining room, and then it will be addressed by Sir Richard Ibbotson. Again, that's a typical tradition of a St George's Day dinner. Sir Richard Ibbotson being the chairman of the trust of the hospital. And he's coming along and he will formally address the beef. And when he's decided it's fit for our consumption, which is all part of the fun, then the chefs will be serving it, of course, to each and every one of us.
I think they're great nights, aren't they?
And on we go with the meal.
It's the ceremony is something that makes this country wonderful as well, isn't it? I mean, it really is.
It's fabulous. It's great that these things are not forgotten, and it's wonderful when we can do our very, very best to do them correctly.
It's great. I love it. So how do people get tickets if they're interested in going along or want to find out more about it? How do they do it?
If they have occasion to visit the hospital, then if they come in to the outpatients department down on level 2, they can get tickets from the League of Friends office, which is at that level, just as they come into the door. So that's one way of getting them. If they would like to speak to myself or my colleague about it, then we have 2 phone numbers that we're using, or they can email me, whichever's easier for them.
Okay, brilliant. Now, we'll make sure we tweet all of the details out for that as well. Are you going to be having your garden party later on in the year?
Yes, that'll be happening in June. That's scheduled for the 14th of June. And as normal, we're very pleased that once again we can have it in the grounds of the Palace Hotel on the Babbacombe Road. So that'll be a summertime event, quite different, of course, to the banquet. But again, something for everybody and a lot of fun. There'll be entertainment throughout the day, and hopefully everybody comes, have a fabulous time and enjoy themselves.
They're always a cracking afternoon. My daughter loves the bouncy castle.
Oh, yes.
If you have a bouncy castle, you guaranteed success there.
I know.
Brilliant, Lynn.
Quite right.
Have a fantastic time, and a happy St George's Day early for you.
Thank you very much.
Fingers crossed the beef will pass the test. It'd be shocking if it came out and then it wasn't fit.
Yes, I don't think the chefs will risk that, do you?
Funnily enough, no.
Yeah,
Have a great time and raise loads of money, and make sure you come back and tell us how much you raised.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time, really. Thank you.
The featured accounts with the Works Torbay. Flexible, affordable workspace. A new way of working and doing business.
Okay, so there you go. If you fancy being one of our accounts of the week, it is so simple. All you need to do is get in touch during the week, and you never know, we could be talking to you next week. I went to the bake show, the cake show at the weekend. I felt I had to.
Where's mine?
Oh, I tweeted several pictures of award-winning cakes over the weekend.
Where's mine?
I tweeted the pictures of the cakes, and I've got some empty wrappings at home.
Where's mine?
You should have gone along to the bake show. It was great.
I gave my ticket away.
Yeah. Right, I will believe you. Thousands wouldn't. What's happening so far on the hour tonight, and what's been going on during the week?
Right, so going on at the moment, we've got at Four Trusts. That's a new legal firm starting up in the Bay that's just joined us on TorbayHour tonight. And at Mosaic Models, they're from Exeter, but they're joining us as well because we welcome everybody. Whilst
we're talking about Exeter just briefly, it came to my attention during today that if you fancy being on Come Dine With Me, does anyone feel they're up to cooking at all? Do you fancy being on Come Dine With Me at all? If you do, they're actually casting this week for Exeter and the surrounding area, so I guess we kind of almost fall into that area.
They do want people from Torquay, actually.
Ah, well, there you go. So if you fancy being on that, you can, it's just dead simple on Twitter, at Come Dine With Me. And you never know, you could be cooking on the telly.
I won't be entering that one, I think.
As long as people would accept spaghetti bolognese, it'll be fine. Right, we're talking energy assessments. We have multiple guests in the studio tonight. Welcome along to Sue and to Andy Coleman. Welcome along.
Good evening.
So we've got, if you just come in a little bit, be friendly with the microphone there. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, how about that? It's kind of buy one, get one free, isn't it, around here? So you are DEATorbay.
Yes, we are.
And that's not the Drug Enforcement Agency, which I'm sure you should get those DEA jackets.
Or drunk every afternoon. No,
yeah, something like that. No. It's Domestic Energy Assessors. Wow. Yes. You don't look like government agents doing energy assessing. I'm assuming you're not.
No, we're independent of me.
Right, so this goes into what we were all being told in the early noughties, if that makes any sense at all, coming up to 2010. The law changed. If you're going to sell or rent a property, you have to have something which is like the sticker on the fridge, which rates you from G to A?
G to A, A being the best.
Okay, so if you don't have that, you can't flog your house.
That's true. Or rent it.
So what actually happens is people like you come round and assess us and say, right, well, you've got no cavity wall insulation, no loft insulation, no whatever, and your house is not fit for rent.
Yeah, what we do is purely visual. We look at the build, how it's insulated, how it's heated, how the heating's controlled, and the software actually gives the rating. But it does affect the running costs of the house. If you're an A, it costs you less to run than a G.
So I guess, I mean, you could, if you just decided, if you're thinking, right, my electric bill seems too high, you could get you round and you could then tell us where the heat is leaking out of the house.
Yes, we could. Yeah.
And presumably not just heat, also electricity. You walked in here and told me my bulbs are wrong.
Well, they are.
He does that to everyone.
Oh, there you go. We should be used to it.
Yeah.
But stuff like that as well.
Yeah, we look at all aspects. It's not just the fabric of the property, which you can improve by insulation. It's how you run your heating, how you control your heating, even that if you've got draft proofing on your windows or your doors, the whole thing, every little bit has an effect.
Right, okay. Now, is there such a thing as a kind of perfect energy efficient house or of course, business premises?
Yes, there is. If you go up to the new energy centre in Paignton, they have a passive house up there.
Oh, right.
And passive house is the standard. It's almost sort of neutral in what it uses, and they'll be delighted to show you around.
Okay. Now, is this something, I mean, that if you're building from scratch, you've got the opportunity to do things like heat exchange, ground source heat pumps, you can do solar panels, and you could even grass the roof, couldn't you, as well, that kind of stuff?
Yes, you could. That's what they've done at the Energy Centre.
Yeah, but you presumably you don't have too much of an opportunity to do that with a house that was built.
You'd be amazed at how much you can actually do to retrofit, your standard 1960s or older properties.
Oh, right, okay.
Whatever. There are always ways that you can insulate, the way you use your heating system, renewables. I have seen older properties that have just been retrofitted to such a high standard that they're almost as good as new build.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that would be doing things like solar panels and double glazing and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things which comes to mind straight away is things like planning permissions and stuff like that. How easy is it to get through that kind of bureaucracy, or is there something which the government has said, right, if you're going to make your energy efficient, we'll guarantee you permission?
I think it depends on the properties. It depends on the council, the planning and everything. In most cases, if you're in a fairly suburban property, you don't generally have any problems with.
For normal properties, there aren't any problems generally with planning, especially for solar panels. You do have one or two issues if they're getting to grade 2 listed.
Right.
National
National
areas
park.
of outstanding natural beauty.
I mean, I'm just trying to imagine now a sort of a thatched cottage in rural Devon with a bunch of solar panels on the roof.
Solar panels.
But you could put them in the garden. They don't have to go on a roof.
Right, so you create your own little solar farm in the back garden.
Absolutely.
We're talking how to save energy, basically how to save money. Now, we've been talking there about houses, but obviously what concerns most people listening to this is about their businesses as well. Now, is things like insulation, if you take a shop unit somewhere, do you assume that has been sort of treated when it was built, or how much can you actually do to a shop unit to make it more efficient?
A shop unit is quite difficult because very often they've got large glazed areas which are single glazed, and you can't do much with the fabric because there's generally other buildings around it. The best way for a commercial business like that is to actually look at the usage. One of the main parts of it is sort of 30-40% of their energy use is in lighting.
Right.
And again, we come back to LED bulbs. You replace a 50-watt bulb with a 5-watt bulb.
You make a huge saving. Yeah.
And again, look at your heating, make sure that your heating is more efficient.
The one thing I'm guessing they must be relatively okay. You know those warm air curtains when you walk into a shop and there's a heater blowing 90 degrees down your neck, and then you walk into the rest of the shop and it's okay. Does that actually stop cold air or the warm air going out into the outside world?
It forms a barrier.
Right.
It does form a barrier. But again, because the door is generally open, you do get a waste heat. You need to make sure the units you put in are the right sort and they're spec'd right for the shop.
Right.
Or else you could waste loads of money.
I mean, the challenge really is if you're renting, or if you suddenly decide, right, I'm going to open a shop or a restaurant or a cafe or one of the other businesses which we find on the high street, you don't get too much of an opportunity to suddenly go, right, tell you what, we'll completely change the front with what I can't remember is it planotherm, the glass that's reflective of heat and all that?
Yeah.
It must cost a fortune to consider changing out huge plate glass windows.
It will cost a fortune, but if you're buying or renting a new business, it comes with an EPC.
Right.
So you can actually look at the EPC, look at the recommendations, and you might make a decision not to take that business on if it has a low rating and it requires too much work, which is the whole purpose of the EPCs, is to actually make the people buying or renting premise able to make a decision on whether it's affordable to run.
So where does that leave landlords then? So if you were to take a business which, I don't know, the lease has come up after 20, 25 years or something like that, and all those years ago no one really cared or bothered to a certain degree about things like that. All of a sudden now that the landlord's faced with massive upgrade costs to make it something which they can then rent out.
Yes, come 2018, anything in F or G, which are the two bottom ratings, you won't be able to let them out. You'd have to put some form of improvement in there.
Right. And that could be insulation, changing the glass, changing the bulbs, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's where you talk to people like us, and we can actually point you in the right direction to get the most cost-effective means of insulation or changing your heating system. Because energy prices have historically been so low, it's not something that's historically concerned a lot of people. It's becoming more of an issue.
Certainly is, and we will talk more about that very soon. It's time for the first of our songs, but if you have any questions, if you've got questions about either the process of making your business premises or indeed your home more energy efficient, or if you've got any questions really around that, then get in touch tonight. The hashtag TorbayHour is the easiest way to do that, and we can put it straight to our experts in the studio tonight. First of our songs now, though, this one is from a band called Tesserae. They recorded it here at the Music Mill in Newton Abbot. This is from their brand new EP. It's called Women in Power.
One pal, you gotta take it. Nobody's gonna give it to you. So be proud to be a feminist. Support each other, pull each other through. If you want power, you gotta take it. Nobody's gonna give it to you. So be proud to be a feminist. Support each other, pull each other through. Demand equality. Be bold, be effective, be strong. Have courage. Be bold, be effective, be strong. Don't compromise. Be bold, be effective, be strong. The world is ours, so scream it out. Connect, engage, transform. The world is ours, so scream it out. Connect, engage, transform. You gotta fight for who you are. Success and happiness is up to you. To make a better life for everyone. Inspire the best of others coming through. Demand equality. Be bold, be effective, be strong. Have courage. Be bold, be effective, be strong. Don't compromise. Be bold, be effective, be strong. The world is ours, so scream it out. Connect, engage, transform. The world is ours, so scream it out. Connect, engage, transform. A good economy needs everyone to contribute what they can. The world is better when we respect each other, every woman and every man. Demand equality. Be bold, be effective, be strong. Have courage. Be bold, be effective, be strong. Don't compromise. Be bold, be effective, be strong. The world is ours, so scream it out. Connect, engage, transform. The world is ours, so scream it out. Connect, engage, transform.
Tesserae, and that's Women in Power from their album, which is brand new out, and it's called Best Wishes, recorded here at the Music Mill. More details if you go along musicmillrecords.co.uk. Everything you need to know is there. It's 24 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Monday night. It's the TorbayHour radio show with the Babbacombe Inn in Babbacombe, funnily enough, on the Downs. Great views across Lyme Bay while you go and enjoy your food and your drink there. Again, if you want to find out more information about any of the sponsors of the shows, pop along to the TorbayHour website, which is, Martin, just as easy as
TorbayHour.co.uk.
Marvellous. And you can find out all the details there. And also, if you fancy sponsoring one of the things on the show or getting an advert, it's as easy as going there and asking as well. Talking of which, by the way, how is it going with the social media conference?
Still got a few tickets available. We're getting a load of sponsors lined up. It's looking like it's going to be a great event.
Brilliant. So for people that weren't listening a few weeks ago when you made the big announcement, give us the rundown.
So basically, on the 17th of April, we're running, the, as far as we're aware, Torbay's first social media conference with workshops there to get people started on Twitter. learn about the analytics of Twitter and Facebook, and then also the other networks, the other social networks as well. So it's going to be a great networking event too for businesses in Torbay.
And if you want to get a ticket for that, it's again onto the website.
TorbayHour.co.uk/on the edge. It's got the brochure on there and all the details you need.
We look forward to it. We're talking energy efficiency, energy saving things in the studio tonight. If you have any questions, then feel free to get in touch. And talking of free, you give free advice, don't you, as well?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, well, it's easy as that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So what's the number one question? If I was to contact you as a stereotypical person who thinks, right, it's time to make my building more efficient, what's my biggest question?
Generally, it was, can I have my boiler changed for free?
Oh, right, okay. Is it domestically or in a business?
Domestically.
Right. Can I have my boiler changed for free?
Not currently. The government did put a load of money into changing boilers, and over the last 6 months, hundreds were changed, and they spent loads of money. It's changed slightly now. There is still money available for boiler changes. The government is very active in promoting energy efficiency, and if you want to look at the Green Deal Home Improvement Fund, for somebody who's just bought a house, there's up to £1,750 available, free gratis.
Really? Well, I know someone who's just bought a house, not sitting too far away.
Providing you make 2 of the improvement changes that are recommended on the EPC,
Right.
they will give you £1,750.
Oh, okay. You just made someone very happy. Yeah.
You were talking about ground source air pumps and biomass boilers earlier. The government, again, through their renewable heat incentive, will give you money over 7 years to help pay for the installation.
That 7-year period, you should recoup the capital cost for the equipment.
Now, the whole solar panel game, it's what was it? Solar PV?
Yeah,
Photovoltaic. Yeah. The feed-in tariffs. These came in for a bit of a rough ride in the press. Was that justifiable a few years ago?
Was this to do with the free panels?
Well, yeah,
schemes
everyone was giving, wherever you went, there was adverts of free panels for this, and you just turn your house into a solar farm and you'll be making a fortune.
At the beginning, yes, that happens. When you bring something in, very often it's sort of taken advantage of to a certain degree. It's settled down now. When you were a standard installation going back at the beginning was £25,000 to put the panels on your roof, but the feed-in tariff was a lot higher. It's dropped regularly, and it's still dropping on a quarterly basis. But most panels now give you return to investment of a little over 11%.
Okay.
And to put a standard installation on your roof is about £5,000.
Right. Now, presumably, as even over the past 5 or so years that this has been an issue, the panels of the technology will have been updated and they're now much more efficient.
Much more efficient and a lot cheaper.
So is there a kind of size of roof that you need to have? What's the kind of minimum roof space that you need to have to make these work?
On a domestic property,
maximum is 4 kilowatt.
4 kilowatt, which is 16 panels.
Right.
And they're a little over 1 metre by 2 metres, I do believe.
Okay.
They're not sure the exact size.
It's not a huge roof.
No. But they do. It does need to be south, southwest, or southeast facing.
Yeah, they're doing more now where they're sort of an east-west rather than pure south, because depending on the position means they're getting the sun.
Right. Okay. So if you had that kind of a minimum level requirement then on your roof, what kind of we were talking about feed-in tariffs. This is where the electricity you generate is fed back into the national grid, and then presumably for the energy companies to then resell somewhere else.
Yeah.
What kind of money would you actually get back?
At the moment, it's 16.3 pence per kilowatt hour, I do believe.
Right. Okay. So on an average bill then. So if I'm trying to work out what the average domestic energy thing would be.
It does depend on the time of the year. We have some panels in our house, and
if you hadn't, I'd be concerned.
Yes. And there were 2 months during last summer where our electricity bill was free.
Wow. I like those numbers.
Obviously, in the winter, you don't get such a good payback, but but it generally takes £15-20 a month off our electricity bill.
So I'm guessing over the course of a year, normal electricity bill is probably about £700-800 a year, something like that. So if you're taking sort of at least 20% out of that, or more, or...
Yes, you need to be smarter as well. You run your appliances when your panels are working, and...
Right. Do you find, I mean, I'm the kind of person that would get, my wife would hate me because I'd get obsessive about it. You know, oh, sun's out, right, I can switch telly on now.
There's an app for that.
Is there really?
Yeah, absolutely.
There are apps and devices for that, and you can actually let it turn your device on when there's excess.
Don't tell her that, please.
You can also get a device now which you put on, and when there's excess power available from the panels, it'll dump it into your hot water cylinder.
Oh,
It
right.
heats your hot water as well.
Oh. Why can't you just have big batteries?
I don't think the battery technology is quite there yet.
They're working on it, but it's very expensive, and I don't think it's as reliable as it should be at this stage. But
You'd need something the size of your house with the batteries in it.
Give it another 3-5 years. Who's to know?
We'll have got it down to the size of the car. So when if we turn back our attention back to business and what businesses can do to make themselves more efficient, what would be your, say, top 5 tips? What are the things which people can do pretty much straight away that would actually make a real impact? I mean, I'll kick you off with the first one, which was the energy saving light bulbs, which we've done here, because we used to have the sort of the GU10 tungsten halogen, whatever they are, filament bulbs that cost a fortune to run. Changed them out for the compact fluorescents, and it genuinely took hundreds of pounds off the electricity bill. We were again talking before we came on air. Lighting technology has changed even since that happened.
Yes, absolutely, it has.
So is LED the way now?
Yes, it's got to be that you've got to look at what you've got, and you've got to look at ways of changing it. I mean, you just said yourself about how much it's actually saved here, so you've got the experience of the difference that it's made, and that it doesn't matter what kind of setup you have within your business, there are savings to be made. We talked earlier on, we were talking about lighting sensors, so it's not only the bulbs, it's how you use the lights. The last one in the building turns the lights off, but if the sensor's in there, then again that's a cost saving that
you're only burning the electricity while there's
Absolutely.
actually anyone needing to be in there.
To take the choice away from the people.
Yeah. Well, this is it. If they're not paying the bill, they're not going to think about it the same way.
That's very, very true. And I'm guessing things like double glazing are another quick win, to use those terms.
Yeah, it depends on the type of business that you've got, obviously, because it does. You mentioned about shops and that earlier, but it's looking at the whole package. Lighting is probably the lower cost and gives the quicker payback. Other things are more structural. There's more involved. There's more investment involved. But we're always happy to talk to people and talk them through every possible aspect. So, people can make informed choices as to what's going to work for them.
The big cost more and more now, I guess, is air conditioning, because there's more of a drive to have constant temperatures wherever we go. I mean, a few years ago, you wouldn't have a car with air conditioning unless you were royalty or Alan Sugar or someone like that. These days, you wouldn't buy a car without air conditioning. Yeah. I guess it's the same in buildings and sort of workplaces as well.
We tend to want and try to control our environment a lot more. And again, what you have to do is make sure you go into some shops and they're really, really too warm. And what you have to do is make sure that it's controlled properly.
Yeah.
And that really is what makes the difference. And to do that, it needs to be done automatically. Take it away from the people.
Right.
Yes.
So I guess you can save money in the air conditioning by improving the insulation of the building and everything else, because then you won't have to be driving the air conditioning as hard. And
also by thermal shading, just by putting a blind up. Stop the sun coming in.
Good tip. Not thought of that one. What about the other way? I mean, we were already saying that the expensive time of year, or the less generating from the solar panels, is winter. Making things warmer in the winter. Ground source pumps we were talking about for domestic situation. But in a business premises, can you get that kind of technology to work for you? Is that going to produce enough heat?
Well, you can. You have to look at the premise and work out what's best. But, you go into a lot of shops and all they've got is a little fan heater that runs for 10 hours a day and keeps the assistant's legs warm in behind the counter. And thus not an effective or affordable way of heating. You have to look at the whole premise and work out what you want to achieve and the most effective way of doing it.
Right. There are restrictions, aren't there, in the temperatures that premises are allowed, the working temperatures people are allowed to work in. Isn't it that there's a legal limit for low, but there isn't for too high? So you can make them sweat.
That's right, yes. Yeah.
What is that?
I have no idea.
I used to work in a shop, and it regularly got to about 35 degrees, and they went, "Oh no, they go back to it."
They never think it gets hot enough for that.
Yeah,
far cheaper to buy them a hoodie.
Not in 35 degrees. Great way of losing weight, but yeah. We're talking about how to save money, energy efficiency, making your homes and your businesses more energy efficient. If you have any questions, get in touch. Martin, what's going on the Torbay Hour tonight?
Right, okay. Lots of people asking about networking opportunities. You're on the biggest one in the Bay, but there's the Torbay Business Network. Alan, you go to the Business Over Breakfast?
Breakfast Network Club.
Breakfast Network Club. Bob Club is James's. So if you're looking for networking opportunities, then there's 3 there. Brixham, at Brixham, he's in the process of setting up the Shellstone official Twitter page, so we'll be looking forward to welcoming them soon. Torbay Design, he's promoting his 3D printing service.
That's 3D printing?
This is the start of robots taking over the world.
Have you seen that thing? It was on QI, this robot that's been... it's a machine that's been printed by a 3D printer that is all moving parts and it can walk.
This is exactly what I'm saying. This is the start. When machines can reproduce machines, we are doomed.
Right.
Anyway, going on before I scare us all.
On that bombshell.
Has to push the button.
Yeah.
At the Veg Expert, if you're looking to grow your own vegetables this year, give him a follow and visit him at growing-solutions.co.uk.
Right.
So, new house coming up. I'll have a garden. I might even do my own growing. Not going to happen.
Hey, solar panels on your roof. It's the good life 2000. That's what we're creating. You just need to get a pig.
Oh, I've got the kids. And myself, my wife would say.
Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig, yeah. At Living Coasts, they're saying about the beach watch results at the moment. The amount of litter on the beach is growing, unfortunately. Lots of wet wipes, apparently.
That is the biggest thing, isn't it? It was on the news the other day. Yeah, wet wipes are killing the beaches.
Put your wet wipes in the bin, not down the toilet, because if nothing else, you're just going to block up your own toilet.
Well, yeah.
And everyone else's as well. Job going, because I know you like these.
Yeah.
At Woods Homes, they've got a lettings admin vacancy based over here in Newton Abbot. But if you want to get into the lettings business, or you know young people that want to get into it, there's a good way of starting. If nothing
I'd have thought this was a good time to get into the estate agency game.
No comment. Been there, done that. Failed. Another new people. Snow Queen Jen. She's over here. She's new. And at Owl and Pussycat 1, she's posting some great pictures tonight from some of the studio shots she's done.
Right.
It's all good. Loads happening tonight.
Thank you for that. Let's do one of these.
The 140-second pitch. Sponsored by Torbay Discount Card. Torbay's community discount card.
Okay, Martin, you should be fairly familiar with this.
Quick Store have been part of the business community here in Torbay since 1999. And this year we're celebrating our 25th birthday, having started in Plymouth in 1989. With 4 sites across Devon and Cornwall, we have over 1,200 self-storage units of varying sizes that can be accessed up to 24 hours a day, and our friendly team are on hand for advice and assistance during our office opening hours. Our internal and external units are safe and secure. It's your unit, so you keep the key, and with CCTV around the clock, Quick Store are the clear choice to take care of your belongings. We have a fully stocked pack and lock range in our reception areas. That includes packing boxes, tape, bubble wrap and packaging materials to make your move as easy as possible. And we have some great deals in place with local van rental and removal companies. We don't only do storage, we also offer a range of business services including archive storage and management. Our service is very fair. We'll fix a price and stick to it. We'll make sure that everything is transparent, and we may even be able to help you to move in with us. Along with our document management services, we also offer a confidential shredding and recycling service. We can supply lockable shredding consoles, shredding bins or sacks, which we'll collect from your office. As well as managing your documents, we can provide racking and shelving, accept and dispatch deliveries on your behalf, including pallets, and even provide you with a mailbox and a business address, all for a single monthly fee. It really is that simple. Are you thinking of relocating your office or taking the step to move from your home office? Then we offer hot desks, whole rooms, meeting rooms, conference rooms and breakout areas, all with loads of free parking. All of our centres are easily located, and here in Torquay we are right next to the Herald Express on Barton Hill Road. You can call us on 01803 40 11 40 or visit our website at quickstore.co.uk. Your storage solution, Quick Smart, at Quickstore Exeter, Torquay, Plymouth and Saltash.
That is brilliant. So how long have you been involved in the Torbay Hour?
This is the first time.
Wow. OK, well, your 140 seconds is over in about 5 seconds, so there's just time to say thank you and hello to everyone.
That's fantastic. And listen, thanks, guys, and have a great rest of the evening.
The 140-second pitch. Sponsored by Torbay Discount Card. Torbay's community discount card.
There you go. So if you want storage, now you know all the details. 20 to 9? What's going on with the evening?
What?
It's 20 to 9. It's time to play our second song, otherwise we're going to completely run out of time. You sent me this during the week. I really like this as well. Aaron Samuel got in touch, and if you are a singer, a songwriter, a band, whatever, and you want to get some airplay on the Torbay Hour radio show with your music, then get in touch, send us an email with the tune. All you need to do is send us an MP3. We could be playing you like we are this for Aaron. It's called Judgment Day.
Back when I was young, I held back my tongue and let everyone else make my choices. Now I'm stuck here in a house made of speakers, hear everyone else's voices. Trapped like a fly in a beaker of glass, I can see but I can't get away. I'm floating in limbo with a soul full of sin, though I'm waiting for judgment day. My head's getting cold, cold, swimming around in this cage. My service is sold, sold to the highest bidder for me. My head's getting cold, cold, and they're screaming at me inside. My heart's getting pulled, restrained by gravity. I'm sick of this silence, I'd rather have violence. I'm sick of these forces that making my choices. My chains will not break and my freedom's at stake. In this federal stake, yes, the title is fake. Sick of my halo, it's not gonna stay though. I'm out of control, a danger to all, awaiting disaster to the puppet master. As time's running fast, I'm rising at last from the ground, 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 from the ground. So from it I rose and the need to dispose you became clear to my mind. Desire to hurt you and block you and burn you all at the same time. The little young fly trapped in single glass, so it longs just to lash out. But the foresight is working behind my back, I can feel it crawling about. My head's getting cold, cold, swimming around in this cage. My service is sold, sold to the highest bidder for me. My head's getting cold, cold, and screaming at me inside. My heart getting cold, restrained by gravity. I'm sick of this silence, I'd rather have violence. I'm sick of these forces, they're making my choices. My chains will not break and my freedom's at stake. In this better at stake, yes, the title is fake. Sick of my halo, it's not gonna stay though. I'm out of control, a danger to all, awaiting disaster to the puppet master. As time's running fast and I'm rising at last from the ground, 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 from the ground. Hey you, I can see you at last. You're the star of the cast, the bane of my past. Hey you, oh I'm rising right now, above the tower, which is your power. I'm sick of your words and it's now my hour. I'm sick of this silence, I'd rather have violence. Sick of these forces, I'm making my choices. Chains will not break, my freedom's at stake. In this better at stake, yes, the title is fake. Sick of my halo, it's not gonna stay though. Out of control, a danger to all. Awaiting disaster to the puppet master. As time's running fast, I'm rising at last from the ground, 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 from the ground. Young, I held back my tongue and let everyone else make my choices. Now I'm stuck here in a house made of speakers and everyone else's voices. Trapped like a fly in a beaker of glass. I can see but I can't get away. I'm floating in limbo with a soul full of sin, though I'm waiting, waiting for Judgment Day.
Aaron Samuel, and that's Judgment Day on the TorbayHour radio show. It's, where are we, 8:45 right now. Is the stream busy tonight?
Just a little bit.
Right.
We're kind of in jail already. I think it might be a new record.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
So no more...
How have you managed to achieve that?
By tweeting far too much from far too many devices, trying to keep up with everyone's tweets. So
you need to kind of find out the numbers so you can, when you get near it, you can sort of throttle back.
Well, I don't know if it's even possible. I don't think there is a specific number, but yeah, it can be just crazy sometimes.
Well, maybe what we should do is you should do a sponsor tweet, see how many tweets you can get away. You know, one particular charities could do really well out of that.
Well, yeah, that might work.
Anyway, so what have we got before you got locked up?
Right, okay, I can still watch the stream, so I can still promote. It's fine. At AC Print, they're saying describe your business starting with the letter I. So there's a bit of a challenge for you. TKI.NES.
It won't struggle Apple, will it, really?
No.
No.
No, can't really struggle with TorbayHour. Idiots. TKI.NES, they've got their Easter craft session going on the 4th of April. £2 and you can paint an egg. I'm guessing you can keep it afterwards.
You never know.
You never know. At ER Attractions, they're doing something interesting this year. They've got their ERA passport, which is promoting links between Torbay and Gibraltar.
Oh, right.
So I know there's a few links there behind the scenes, so they're sort of trying to promote that now, which is fantastic. On the same lines, Torbay Regatta have not only got the red arrows, they've got the RAF Tycoons too.
Do you mean tycoons or typhoons?
Typhoons, probably.
Right.
Can't read my own handwriting.
Tycoons are incredibly rich people. Typhoons are fighter aircraft.
Only being able to be bought by incredibly rich people.
I doubt if you'd have a private typhoon, but you never know.
You never know, indeed.
You never know.
Good luck to at the 25 Torquay. That's at the 25 Torquay. They open on Friday, the brand new boutique hotel. They've been posting pictures, and it looks original. In fact, no, it looks great. So, yeah, good luck to those. And also, at Inspire Hair 7, the number 7, they've got 20% off if you book by the end of March.
Can they do a wash and polish?
They might do.
We've been talking energy saving and sort of saving businesses and domestic, where you live, your house, money in simple ways. And we've talked about things like energy changing bulbs, thinking about double glazing, insulation and things like that. We've got Sue and Andy in the studio tonight, so if you have any questions, then feel free to get in touch. And people can get in touch after the show as well, can't they? You're happy to give advice and sort of friendly advice.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
Nodding doesn't work on the radio. It's kind
of worked for me.
Well, there you go. So if people have got questions, where do they find you? Have you got any events or anything coming up that people can come and talk to you?
We have an open evening at the Energy Centre at Paignton, and that's on the 20th of April from 6:30 to 9:30.
Right, so that's the Energy Centre part of South Devon College?
Yes, that's right.
Right, so it's just as you come up the Brixham Road, traffic lights turn right just there in front of you?
Yes.
The big E on
the one with the grass roof.
Right. Grass roof. If you've got a grass roof, do you have to go up and mow it?
No, no.
I always think of the slightly obtuse things.
Sheep are agile.
Well, they've got those cliff-hanging goats, haven't they? Maybe they'll do the job, yeah. Right, okay, right, moving swiftly on before we get involved in idiocy.
Hello?
Somebody call.
Yeah, so anyway, so people can come and see you in April and ask all the idiotic questions about grass-covered roofs then?
Yeah. Yeah, none of the questions are idiotic. You know, if somebody has an EPC and, you know, they see the graph but they don't know what the rest of the document is telling them, bring it to us. We'll sit down and we'll go through it. And
so I guess, I mean, you know, historically, if someone's bought a house, I'm trying to remember, I think we bought ours it's about 8 or 9 years ago. I don't think there was that kind of document involved in the
EPC
pack.
started in 2008.
Right. So is it something now which is fairly prominent when you buy a house, or is it something which is just involved that you get it in the paperwork and you just go, well, I want to buy the house, I'll just sign here?
More and more people are taking a notice of it. Previously, it was an unread document. But the EPC now gives an indication on how much the house is going to cost to run, and it's becoming more of an issue with people.
And presumably, if new builds, if you go and buy a new build house, there has to be a minimum criteria that the house will
regulations.
fit.
It's they should have a similar form of an EPC on there, and it has to pass the building control, pass the building regulations. So you should be getting an energy efficient house. Right,
and you could go back and kick them, so to speak, if it wasn't. Well, they wouldn't be allowed to make it, would they?
Exactly.
It's easy as that. So, what are the things? Is the other restrictions or the design things likely to get stricter as time goes on, or is there a kind of practical maximum that you can't expect people to retrofit to?
I think there's aspirations that new builds will become almost carbon neutral within the sort of next decade, because you know they've got to take the building regulations forward. They've got to look at making the builder properties more efficient. They've got to look at the way they're heated, the way the heating's controlled, exactly the same way as we're trying to look at older properties and retrofitting. It's the same thing for new builds. They've got to take them up a level.
So presumably as we start spending less and less on energy, the energy companies are just going to ramp up the bills to make sure they still make a fortune.
It's not only about energy costs, it's also about the carbon emissions, because the government has a huge commitment to reducing the amount of carbon we emit as a country. So there's two sides of it. It's what, you know, it's the energy cost, but it's also the carbon emissions. And that has to come down. What we're doing, it's set in law, we have to bring those emissions down. And the easiest way to do it is by making our homes more energy efficient, so we're emitting less carbon.
Right. And I guess the easiest, I'm trying to think of the stuff which I've done at home, and I think it's embarrassingly little, actually. I think we've got very, very thick roof insulation in the loft.
Yes,
which
should be about 270 to 300 millimetres, so sort of 10 to 12 inches of loft insulation, which you don't then squash down in between boards and stick loads of junk on top.
Cabling, yeah. So we touched on there was the green deals that you could get in the early days, the solar powered or the solar panels on the roof. There was money available for when you bought a new house, making changes to bring it up to speed, and the boiler exchange program, which has been going on recently. Mm-hmm. Are there any new deals which are on the horizon?
Well, at the moment, there's also loft and cavity wall insulation that can be done free, and there is, as I say, there's the incentive, the renewable heat incentive for people who want to move onto renewable systems for their heating system. Those are going to be pretty much here for probably the next 12 months as far as we can see, but it's an ever-evolving market. There's always tweaks to schemes that are running and new schemes that will be coming out. April we'll see some changes to some of the schemes, relaunching and revamping what's called ECO, which stands for the Energy Companies Obligation, which is actually where the energy companies are paying for the improvements.
Oh, okay.
So again, it's the carbon side of things.
I mean, for the cynical, which is me mainly,
a lot of people.
You can sometimes you see these things. It's like as soon as you said, if you buy a new house, the government will give you £1,700 to bring it up to speed, or as a contribution. Well, for me, it's like, hang on, where's the catch? Sure, there has to be something. Do you have to pay it back?
No. There is small print and terms and conditions on all these things. But, that's where it helps to talk to somebody like us who can actually turn around and instead of you spending hours looking on government websites, that's what we do, so that we can turn around and say, yeah, actually, this is what you need to do. It's this, and this. That if you do that, then yes, you qualify for the scheme, and we can even sort of try and help you find somebody who can do the jobs for you as well.
Yeah. And currently, you don't have to be a new house owner. In your existing property, they'll give you £1,250.
Oh wow! Well, I know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Have a look at Green Deal Home Improvement Fund.
Right. Okay.
And the link will take you in, and it'll tell you what you can do and how much they'll pay you back.
Okay. And presumably there are criteria, sort of whether you, if you're an older person, you might, or
it's not means tested at all.
No, it's so right.
Home Improvement Fund isn't.
It's just across the board. Yeah. There must be millions of pounds worth of untapped money for people to make improvements to their houses.
Yes, there is.
And is this a kind of seasonal thing that people suddenly might start thinking about it in when the heating comes on again in the autumn?
It always focuses your mind. Do you turn the thermostat up or down?
You put a jumper on. That's what you put a jumper on. Yeah,
run around a lot.
Yeah, you can tell I don't do that. But so is this the time to start thinking about doing this now, so that the work is completed in time for the autumn? Right. Yeah. So how do people get in touch with you?
They can come onto our website, which is www.DEATorbay.co.uk, and there's a link there. They can send us an email, or they can tweet us.
Right. And to tweet you is?
I'm at DEATorbay.
And I'm at Sue_DEATorbay.
It's kind of, I have to say, as a cynical person, I have to say I am not trend-setting when it comes to green and environmental stuff, I have to say. But this does sound like it's one of those things which is a no-brainer, because at the end of the day, if you can get some help doing it, and you can save yourself money, it doesn't really matter whether or not you're doing it for the benefit of the planet as such. You're making a saving yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. It should be £1 in your pocket.
Yeah. And we were saying just in this building, if we can save £300, I think we saved when we changed to the compact fluorescent bulbs. It's not going to be quite that high in a house, but over the course of a couple of years, you're talking a holiday.
Mm-hmm. If you've changed, you were talking earlier about the GU10 bulbs, 50-watt horrible things that burn out quite quickly.
Yeah.
If you change that for an LED bulb over the lifetime of the bulb, that one bulb, you'll save over £100.
Right. Well, in terms of the energy and the cost of the bulbs?
Yes.
Right. So, because when they came out, the LED bulbs were fairly dim, weren't they? And secondly, very expensive.
They've moved on leaps and bounds. You have so much choice now on colour, type, wattage, and more types to still fill in most fittings now. You can replace most bulbs with them.
Oh, right. Okay.
And they really are a lot better than they used to be.
And dimmable is the other thing, of course.
They are dimmable. If you buy the ones with the right controls in the bulbs, yes, the dimmable.
And this is advice or the places where you can get them. We can come to you for that, or do you go to an electrician?
We can actually put people in the right place to get them.
Right. Okay. I think I'll be talking to you as soon as we come off air. Thank you very much for coming in tonight. And get in touch, get some help, save some money, and we can all go on holiday collectively together, and of course burn loads more aircraft fuel while we do it. Martin, can you wrap things up on the hour tonight?
Yeah, just a couple of people to follow, because they're starting to get to not barriers, I suppose, the celebration levels. Woohoo!
Hello. You carry on, don't worry.
At Unleashed Web, they're one to follow, and at Seaway Insurance. If you're not following him, then you really should. He knows a lot about U2 songs, not as much as me though. So give them a follow. At BillyDo25, they've been on promoting their prints this week. And at the Works Torbay, should really give them a mention. They've got their open evening on Thursday. Right. Okay. And so you said someone was going through a barrier there. Yes. So Unleashed Web and Seaway Insurance, they're going through a couple of. One's reaching 200 followers and one's reaching about 500, I think it was. So Give them a follow, get them through those barriers, and let them have a celebration tonight on TorbayHour.
See, if you'd put your headphones on tonight, you'd know all the sound effects have been playing when you've been saying things. But there you go. You will have to listen back to the Listen Again service, which is a cheeky way of bringing us onto that. The Listen Again service, all you do is go to YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the TorbayHour, and you can listen to the back catalogue of shows. So if you want to get contact details of people, if you want to get ticketing information, if you want to get more information from one of our guests, that is how you can listen to the show. We are still working on the podcasting idea. What's going on with the podcasting?
We're working on it.
Okay, we need to make it so that you cannot escape us and you can take us with you everywhere when you go on your holiday.
I've done a bit of research on why we get put in jail.
Right.
So, you have a tweet limit of 24,000 tweets per day, which is broken down into hourly segments.
24,000 a day?
24,000 a day. So, we've probably done over 1,000 tweets and retweets in the last hour.
Good effort.
Just promoting Torbay. In fact, we did it in 3/4 of an hour.
Wow, I am impressed.
This is why we get put in jail. This is why we do what we do.
Right, okay, we are talking and tweeting business. Thanks to the Baba Come In, who sponsor the show. We'll be back next Monday night at 8 o'clock. Have a great week, do great business. We'll see you soon.
And tweeting Devon. This is the TorbayHour radio show.